It is October 2nd, 2020. We're here on the side of the house located at 4018 North Hempstead Circle in San Diego, California, 92116. So we're here on the right side of the house and we have a 3-inch clean out. There's the plug. We just actually installed that. So we're going to go into this. We will go up on the rooftop as well for the vents, but we're going to start right here with this access point, which had not been opened. We had to cut off the old brass one. So you can see here a bunch of buildup. Now this is actually not part of the sewer line yet. So right next to the bathroom window here, on this side, we have the bathtub first, then we have the sink, and then the toilet. So basically this debris right here is what kind of back flushes off the line sometimes, and because it's never needed to be cleaned out or accessed from this point, we've got really excessive buildup right here. So our camera is going to try to go over the top of this and then enter into the line. You can see how thick this is, really thick. Now you can see we've actually got heavy debris blocking the line, so what we're trying to do right now is actually get our camera to go through this. It's really sludgy and a lot of heavy buildup. Now we were told that another inspection company went from the roof and it was blocked up on the rooftop. So it's possible that this line, which this is on crawl space, just might have so much buildup, and it might have some vent pipes that have flaked apart and come across, and also contributed to clogging up the line with a lot of debris. So as we pull our camera back out here, we did not get through there. We just pulled out a lot of gunk, and it's on the front of our camera lens still, so we're going to wipe it off here so you can kind of see. It's all in the paper towels here, all this buildup. So again, you can see all this heavy buildup right here. So we're going to try to flush this out with a small cable and some water running from the bathroom itself. And so what we're going to go ahead and do is leave our camera equipment right here. We're going to pause the video while we try to clean this up, and we're going to grab another camera and go up on the rooftop while both of them try to get through to the system. Okay, so we went ahead and cleaned out this debris out of the system here. We used a 1/2-inch short cable connected to a high RPM drill with a single little cutter on the end there, a little 6-foot line to go ahead and clean all that buildup out of the line. So again, this is just a clean out pipe. You can actually look into the crawl space and see it just is the large pipe going across. Now, right now we have the bathtub running, the toilet, and the sink. We turn them all on, so right now all this water you see cascading by is all the pipes on right now. So there you go, we just came across, we're now in the true horizontal pipe. As we back up right here, we're again in part of this access clean out, and since we have all the water running, but we just want to show that now there's a clean access. You can see all the water itself is only what's cascading through. And then we dump in across here, and now we're into the main sewer itself, which you can see from the crawl space right next to this clean out, the original 4-inch cast iron. So the camera's in the beginning of the line right here. You can see it's flowing and everything is draining out of the system. We've been running it for quite a few minutes here, for probably about 10 minutes. So we know that the line is currently draining at least quite well and not backing up at all. So now we're going to go ahead and shut the water off and then push the camera down and across the entire system here. So we're going to pause the recording. Okay, so we'll go up on the roof here shortly. We shut the water off. As you can see, we just have a bunch of cobwebs there on the top of the pipe. A little stringy debris on the left. So from the crawl space, we haven't gone in there, but the cast iron actually looks in pretty good shape from the outside. We didn't see any little pustules, which is the first indicator that the cast iron is starting to go bad, and lets a little moisture and seepage out, and then gets these little pustules forming on there, little blisters almost. So you can see there's a little bit of debris on the inside, the buildup, but not that much scaling or deposits really inside for the age of the home. Inside the cast iron actually looks in pretty good condition still. It's vacant right now, so we don't know how long it's been vacant, but we're not finding any debris built up, and unless we find some very heavy pockets with things clogged up behind them, then we wouldn't be concerned about this minimal amount that we're seeing right now. It's fairly nice and open. So this main is going to lead across and go towards the garage, where there's another single toilet in the garage, and then we have our laundry there, and then we have a kitchen off to the right that will eventually junction in as well. So here you can see we have a T-junction right here. This is probably picking up the other toilet and the other fixtures off to the right. And then as we go forward just a little bit more, we have a turn on the line. There is a clean out in the garage concrete floor that's an old brass and cast iron plug. That's probably the access point from right here, so right when we make this turn. It's not uncommon that the pipe and the fittings, whether the pipe has good slope or not, will sometimes get some buildup on the hub of the cast iron. So that's why we're seeing just a little lake of water right here. So we're going up just a little bit. We've got a little bit of debris built up right there on this hub, this Y junction. It's actually a T fitting. So that's why we've got this little lake of water here. Not too big of a deal. Now we're going into the cast iron that's continuing essentially across the garage area to head towards the front of the house to head to the street. So looks like a little towelette or rag or wipe that was probably flushed down is hanging up on the right hand side of the pipe right there. Not a big deal, but just kind of stuck right there in the pipe. But as you can see, overall it's nice and pretty round. Usually when you get very heavy buildup, the bottom of the pipe actually looks completely flat. We get so much scale and buildup deposits. You get that. Now it looks like off to the right there we have a T-junction. So it looks like there's a 2-inch T-junction. So that might be where the laundry is probably dumping into the system right here. Continuing down the line right here. And we'll try to see if we can assess the condition of the kitchen and laundry either from the roof vents or if there's any clean outs. But overall the cast iron is looking pretty good here. We've got some more cobwebs right here. Those aren't roots, those are little cobwebs. You get a lot of bugs and spiders living in the pipes actually. But it is in very good condition. Got a little bit debris on the left right there, the upper left. So right there, that is a small possibility. Those are some small fine roots that are starting to get into the system. I can't say 100%. It could be some foreign debris, but there's a small possibility right there. So we're basically right at about the 49-foot mark almost. So we'll locate to see where that's at, but those look like some very small, fine roots possibly getting into the system. You can see them growing along the left front edge of the pipe right there. So those do look like a little very fine roots getting into the system right here at about 49 feet off to the left. So we'll pull back and locate those, but we're going to continue down the line first. Yeah, we do see a little bit of roots on the upper right-hand side of the screen, so kind of hard to see because our camera's kind of just beveled off to the left side the way it's careening down the pipe. But on the right-hand side of the pipe right there, those look like some small white colored yellowish roots, some small fine ones on the upper right side of the pipe there of the screen. So we had the fine small black ones on the left side of the pipe. Now coming up here right about 50 feet, those look like some small roots growing in right there. So we'll check that area out. We're going to continue down the line here. Yeah, it looks like those are some small roots getting in right there as well. So those do look like roots, a little bit larger ones, not blocking much of the pipe, but unfortunately that means the wall of the pipe is starting to finally corrode and give way, and some roots are growing in here. So we definitely have some small roots intruding in the system. We'll continue down this pipe here, a little mound of buildup right there, or some debris through that. Not seeing any more small fine roots. There's one little section, but we when it's cut into, you never know how the pipe's going to be the rest of it. So hard to say if only a spot repair could be done. It's typically not too viable. Okay, so there we've got some more roots growing in the line. So now at 60 feet you can see all these roots growing in as well. So unfortunately it is kind of the end of the life of this cast iron pipe. Now it's functional right now. It's completely usable. It would take a long time before something would probably grow heavy enough to cause a stoppage. But the cast iron is at the end of its life, unfortunately. So eventually this pipe's going to need to be relined or dug up and replaced if it's in an easier pathway to just dig it up and replace it with plastic ABS. But if it's too deep or under a concrete driveway or walkway, then sometimes the lining process is less costly because it's less invasive what you have to put back from what you dig up. So we'll continue down this cast iron here. A little bit more mounding on the bottom right here, as you can see. Not huge, but still a little bit heavier right there. Not super extreme, but kind of open. Okay, now here we have a transition to ABS black plastic pipe. We do have a clean out that we noticed right in front of the sidewalk that was installed. So we'll see here, you can see we're connected on and dropping into this plastic right here. So this is the newer pipe that somebody put in. Now we're going across. I don't believe we've gotten to the clean out, so I think they've replaced quite a bit across maybe the front yard area here up to that point. So this is all new plastic. We're going to push through a little bit quicker. Now here we've got a little bit of standing water in the line, so obviously there never should be any standing water in the pipe. All drain pipes are required to have a slope downhill of 1/4 inch per foot. So every foot you travel has to be 1/4 inch deeper. So a 4-foot section of pipe has to be 1 full inch deeper. That prevents any of this from occurring. Now we could have some buildup, roots, or a stoppage farther ahead. That could be causing a damming effect, causing this to be held out. Otherwise, the pipe itself was put in improperly or not compacted and tampered and supported with rocks underneath, and it sank and has done this. Or when they put the pipe in, they just put it in poorly. Now our camera has a little tiltometer on it. It tells us the incline of the pipe. Okay, we just heard somebody flush the toilet, so just so you know, we're going to have some water running by the camera here shortly. So we're going to push forward here, though, see if we come out of this sag or belly. See, we're still dragging some debris on the bottom of the pipe. So we're underwater here still. Now it looks like we're coming out from there finally. So right here, our camera is actually showing a positive 3 degrees. It's supposed to be negative 2 degrees to be the 1/4 inch of downhill slope. So from 86 feet here, we're going to back up again, and we immediately go into the water, and we do see that we're at a positive with our camera right there. So when we back up from that positive, and we've got still some more positive to basically level, that's why we're basically holding water in that whole area. So we're going to keep backing up here. We're at 80 feet back, and here we go. We're just finally now coming out of that. Got that little bit of water running by from the toilet flush. Now right now our camera shows the negative degrees, so we know we've got good slope right here. As we push forward here a little bit more, we're still at good negatives, but right at about 80 feet here we start to get the water. So we got a 6-foot section of pipe that's holding water that was installed improperly from when it was redone. So we're coming back through that. Here we go. We just came out of that, pushed out, so now we're back up to there, and we're still a little bit positive, so that's what creates that sag belly to the line. It was actually just poor installation method, or something got done during the backfill process, which is still part of the installation process of the pipe, the complete job. Okay, so we're still actually now here at a positive, and that's why we're holding water again. So now we're back into another area that's also holding water here. Our camera is showing +3, +4 degrees, and so it's definitely going uphill here. That's why we're underwater. So now there is either a check valve or a turn on the line. We're not sure right here. And it looks like it's just hitting a transition here and dumping. This could be a bigger pipe right here. So I don't know if this is going next to the neighbors. We didn't see any T-junctions from picking up a neighbor's property. So right here we're coming to a regular standard T, not a sweeping T, not a sand T, not a combo T. The ABS is just opening up and then dumping in. So this could be actually the city pipe right here that might have been replaced. Maybe the city or the city contractors did use ABS and they put it in poorly. Not sure. We're going to go ahead and start locating to see where this pipe is located at in the street, and the frontage, and the sidewalk, specifically where, so we can get an idea. So we're going to go ahead and pull back right here to the end of this line right here, right at about 94 feet. We're going to go ahead and see where we're at, so we're going to pause the video. Okay, so this is the end of the line, which the distance we're out, we would expect that, but we located this right in the middle of the street. So the city contractors did replace the line, and they put in black ABS. It's rare. We don't see that often. So this is about 3.5 feet deep, and again, it's right in the middle of the street. We located this. So the other clean out that we found, which is kind of in between the two properties, is actually the neighbor's clean out. So we have another camera in there. We're going to pause right now and move over to that one. Okay, so we have our second camera here in the clean out that is in between 4014 and this house. There's a grassy area right in between the two neighbors' properties. It is slightly closer to the neighbor's property, 4014, and the property line, I'm not sure exactly where it's designated, but it's close to this. Well, it appears that this is the neighbor's sewer because, again, our other camera and push rod are in the system all the way out to the street. We're in front of the sidewalk, and we're now going to pull the camera out to show you. So we're about 15 feet in or so, I believe we pushed in, so maybe about 10 or 12 left. So as we come back out here, you can see this is all ABS plastic, and there's no push rod from the other camera that's in the system. We're now coming back up the vertical. Here's the T-junction that picks up there, so this is the clean out vertical access right here. And we're going to wipe off our camera lens. And so here's where we're at right here with this camera. So here's 4014. Here's this property that we're reviewing. So this is the clean out right here, but it's actually not for this house. It's for 4014. But our sewer is out there in the street. So we've got a little chalk mark with a small X. It's going to be hard to see it from here, but you're looking at that SUV Tahoe right across the street here. And so where our camera is pointed at, right in front of the front wheel, if our camera is pointing to the front wheel there on the driver's side, that's actually just in front where the sewer for 4018 is, and we have it marked with a little X. So it is off to the left, but not far off, but that's actually its line. So we don't see a clean out. So for some reason one was put in here for the neighbors, but as we pan across here over to this grass here for this property, we're again started on the right side here, we don't see anything over here on the property line. So there's no clean out. This one was very easily above, exposed, and visible, and there's nothing here. And so again, our line is coming out from across the street at that tire. So if we're coming back in and across, we would be probably in this grass area, and we're going to locate it, but there is no other clean out here. So if there is one, again, we've made a lot of twists and turns. We didn't see one on the vertical top of the pipe. With black ABS, sometimes it gets hidden in the shadow of the pipe. Nothing around here. So we'll locate the path of the pipe and mark it, because we do have those sags that we need to mark off, as well as the root intrusions. But we wanted to show that that is actually the neighbor's clean out there on this little grassy in-between area. So we're going to pause and move back to the original camera. Okay, so our camera's zeroed out right now because we switched cameras back and forth. So again, right now we're in the city street itself. So we're pulling back here. So none of this is actually a repairable pipe, and it's not anything you could dig back up. We've dealt with the city and their contractors before when they do bad craftsmanship like this, and they will not come back out and fix it. I can pretty much guarantee. But now it is new smooth plastic pipe. It's not rough cast iron. So the likelihood it's going to lead to stoppages is pretty minimal. And again, as you can see, what's being held out in the water is not super deep. It's not, great, but it's not terrible. I've seen much worse. And in other materials, it would be really more concerning. Not as much in smooth plastic pipe, though. And again, this is under city property, so not much we can do here. So we're going to back up here. It started again at 94 feet, and we're moving all negative here. So we moved through that. We had the sag at about 80 to 86, and then a little bit past that. So we've already gotten through that whole junction. So we're now just going to keep pulling back on this ABS line. And again, as I look at the top of the pipe, I just don't see any cleanouts. There could be an access there. No, it's just cobwebs reflecting. So I don't think they put a property line clean out in here for some reason. Again, at least it's not brought to surface. So if they did one, we're just not seeing it there. So we've got some couplings and turns right here, but not seen on the top of the pipe, an access point. Now right here's the end of the cast iron, the beginning of the plastic. So we're going to go ahead and mark this to see where this is at on the property. Okay, so this pipe is about 3 feet deep. It's about a foot in front of the city sidewalk. It's under the grass. And so, got a little bug flying around our light right there, it looks like. So, we've got it marked with a green spray paint dot on the grass right in front of the sidewalk, denoting that's the end of the cast iron. Now again, right at about 60 feet or so, I believe we had the second small roots intruding, or third little area, I should say. There was 3 areas we saw around there. So, we're not too far from that because we started at 94 feet coming in reverse, so at minus 34 feet we'd be coming up on that 60-foot mark or so. So there we go. There's our roots right there. So we're going to put our camera underneath this. We're going to pause and locate this. Okay, the pipe is only about 2 feet deep here. It was 4 or 5 feet forward, is about 3 feet deep, but we do show a really steep angle on the pipe of negative 11 degrees with our camera, so I guess that's why it gets so deep by the time it gets to the sidewalk. Anyway, that's those roots. We have it marked with a flag at 23 inches deep approximately, and a green spray paint dot on the grass as well. It is under the grass. I'm going to back up here. We know coming up here shortly, closer to 50 feet or so, we had those other small roots on the right side of the pipe, little white ones, and then we had the small black ones on the left. Let's see, should be coming up in the next few feet, I believe. Looks like we've got some cracking and swelling on the upper right-hand side of the screen right there. I don't know if we've passed them. So there's some of those little roots hanging in right there. There we go. There's some of the ones hanging in. I might be off with my distance. I can't recall what we had. But there's some little roots right there dangling into the pipe right there from the top. So the top right there has some. Let's push forward right to here. We're going to pause and locate this. And this is right across that screen on the right-hand side. We can see that swelling, that little spider actually just went in through the pipe right there, in and out. So it's definitely starting to crack and break there. So we're going to pause and locate. Okay, so this area is under the concrete driveway, unfortunately. The pipe is only 16 inches deep. We've got it marked with some chalk, and we'll show it with our camera once we pull all the way back out. So they're not huge, but again, it's just indication that the pipe is cracking and breaking and they're starting to get in the system. It could go for a while before you have to repair it. Okay, there's those smaller ones we saw in the upper right of the screen. So here the pipe is cracked and breaking, and some small ones are trying to intrude in. Those are those little white, yellowish ones we saw. So just a few feet in front of that other one on the system. We're going to pause and mark this one really quick. Okay, so this was just a couple feet back, and it's just under the concrete driveway, but just in front of the garage door itself. So we've got that marked with a circle and an X. And then we know as we back up right here, we can see those little tiny fine webbed roots. There's actually is some on the right hand side. We can kind of see now, but where our camera always lays in here, we can see them on the left hand side of the screen. Again, very small and fine, don't even need to be cleaned out right now. None of these are intruding. It's just unfortunately an indicator that the line is cracked and broken and flaking apart and separating, and it's letting them grow in. So that's an indication that it's the end of the lifespan of this cast iron. So those are those small ones there. So push back forward again. There were those roots there. We backed up. Had those roots right there. And then just another foot or so in front of that is these. So see some little webs possibly on the top there, actually some little thin black ones, definitely. So there's the cobwebs there, kind of white and shiny, kind of reflecting the camera light and the moisture, but we can see those thin small black ones on the top of the pipe, just like we saw on the side right there. So you can see them on the top of the pipe there. So let's push forward right to here. We're going to go ahead and pause and locate this. You can see some on the right side, upper of the screen as well. Very small, fine ones though. Okay, so these roots right here are inside the garage, under the concrete area of the garage, and it is about 15 inches deep. We've marked it with a circle in the X, the letter R, and a line denoting the depth of 15 inches. So we're now going to go ahead and continue to back up on the line. We didn't know where the laundry was when we first walked the property here because we were doing other work, and they told us it's on the sump pump actually. So we do have the kitchen drain line. As we come back in reverse, where that's going to tee into the system, there is a 2-inch ABS clean out, so it's possible the kitchen line was possibly all replaced. We'll go ahead and inspect that, and then maybe the laundry, since it's on sump pump, is dumping up into the and teeing into the kitchen line, a shared pipe, and then going across and dumping into the main, possibly near this T-junction right here, which is the turn on the line near the clean out in the garage. And then as we back up right here, the T to the right in front of that one's also a junction where the toilet and everything else is dumping into the system. So right here again, we're just at the corner of the garage, coming back now into the crawl space of the house. We have not gone in there, so we know that the line eventually kind of goes into the dirt, even from this far side of the house. But now that's where we're at, just to give you an idea of, as we come back across here. Now, the original camera company that couldn't get in said the vent was all blocked or they didn't have access, so it's possible that what we cleaned out here, it opened up. We will take our camera, another one on the rooftop, to verify that the vent is now opened, because that is important for the gases to go out and air to get in the line. So we're going to leave this camera right here, just a few feet into the system. Before we go look at the kitchen, we're going to go up on the roof vent with a second camera and see if we can get through that vent, that it's open and clear for an access now. Okay, so we're here on the rooftop. We just bought a really small compact camera to come up here because it's a little harrowing from the side of the house coming up the ladder. So this is not a self-leveling camera. But anyway, we're going to go down this 4-inch original cast iron vent. This is what the other company went down. They said they couldn't access the line, but it's probably because it enters right where all that buildup was that we couldn't get through. Okay, so now it is actually blocked. So you can see the vent pipe here is completely solid, full of the flakes of the cast iron pipe, and this is just what happens with old cast iron. It's steel pipe. The moisture in the air, rainwater over all the years, it will essentially over time cause it to deteriorate, just like it's deteriorating underground and cracking and breaking, letting roots get in. It's just flaking apart on the inside here. So the vent is completely clogged. So what will have to happen is this line will need to be either opened up, possibly by snaking, but you usually don't want all these heavy metal flakes to go into the pipe, because then they somehow have to run 90 feet out to the city, and that's just not going to happen. And the hydrojetting process is very aggressive, wouldn't be good for the piping. So what's going to have to happen is you can go down here. We have some special magnetic tools that can go on the end of our cables and camera ends and keep retrieving all of this up. Otherwise, the pipe itself would have to be opened up behind the toilet tank, or in the bedroom closet wall, whatever's behind that, cut into the vent pipe, so you can then just extract it with a vacuum and suck it all out basically, or magnetically retrieve some of it as well. But this is completely blocked, so this is why the camera won't go down. So again, your vent does need to be open, so this does need to get cleaned up. So just going to go ahead and show that right there. We're now going to go ahead and move over to the kitchen drain line. Okay, so we're right here outside the kitchen. There's the doorway to the garage. Here's the outside the kitchen window. Here's a 2-inch ABS cleanout that we accessed. So we can see ABS pipe here. You can see a lot of grease and buildup floated to the top of the pipe right there that they've been putting down the system. And it transitions to the original cast iron right here. So here we go into the original cast iron. And we kind of lost it. We're going to go ahead and turn some water on, see if we can clean our image back up. Yeah, I saw that. I'm going to go back in there one more time to look at this, because the vent pipe from the roof is still clogged with debris. So even though I cleaned out the pipe for the clean out to get the camera in, that roof vent is still clogged with metal flakes. But it looks like there's actually a secondary T in the crawl space, so I'm going to go back in there. So don't take those keys or lock that up yet. What was that? Okay, so we left our camera running there. We thought we'd pause it. But anyway, so you can see we have water running. So the water is draining out of the system fine. There's just super heavy buildup and scale on the cast iron. It's original 2-inch cast iron for a kitchen. I wouldn't expect anything less. So the camera is only going to get through so far. We're not going to force it too much more, but you can see it's completely draining. It is working. It's just really old cast iron. Too far, and sometimes we can actually cause a stoppage when we force the camera in, push some of that grease and fat and block up the line. So it is original cast, so at some point in time it's probably going to need to be cleaned out quite often. It is essentially in one little, I believe, some type of crawl space, but then it's going to go into the garage, of course, and so it heads over to that Y junction where the toilet and that clean out is, and so eventually it is under the concrete slab of the house itself. So at some point it may need to be, dug up and repaired, but for right now it's completely functional. You saw all the grease in the ABS, the heavy buildup in that, but it's obviously draining. We're not going to try to get this camera all the way through, because again, it'll probably clog up the line and then it won't be functioning. So I doubt there's roots in there right now. But this line, since it does junction in off the other area, if you ever were to dig up the line or reline even the other cast under the garage to not dig it up, you may have to dig up the T-junction here for this kitchen, because that will have to be opened up from the lining process. So one area might have to be dug up and cut out of the concrete in the driveway, inside the garage, if the main sewer is ever repaired. So you can see everything's still draining perfect on this kitchen line, so it's still functioning fine. See, we're just trying to get somewhat of a clear image here, but there we go right there. So still functioning, just really old cast iron. So we're going to go ahead and move to the front of the house to show the markings that we've made. Okay, so it's already gotten dark outside here, and so here's the front of the garage. So here you can see is the second intrusion. So through the garage door, which we didn't want to open, I guess it doesn't open real cleanly, is the very first intrusion, those thin, small ones, black ones. Here's also those small, thin, black ones, the little white ones, the one hanging down from the top. So you can see that's where all the roots are. That's the path of the pipe. And then as we go across right here, you see that a little flashlight on the ground by our white paper towel that's really bright right there. That's shining at a little green flag. We're going to try to maybe move a little bit closer here. This is the other roots that are intruding. So right there at this flag, which denotes that. So you can can see roots at 23 inches deep. So we painted the grass as well. And then right 1 foot in front of the city sidewalk, again, which is kind of hard to see, over there, that's where the cast iron ends, just a foot in front of there where our flashlight's at. So all this pipe is completely functional, does not require any repair right now, and doesn't require any cleaning, but at some point in the future it's going to need it when the cast iron gets worse or the roots get heavier, and will need to be done eventually. So that concludes the recording for this property.